Welcome back to Series World, and you're back with Sarai. And today I'm going to be telling you 20 things that I've learned at the age of 20. For those who don't know, I'm 20. My birthday is in December. I turned 21 this year, and man, I said this in my last video, I feel 20. I definitely feel 20. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still times where I feel like a child, I feel like a teenager, but I think that I'm really living the life of a 20-year-old, or just starting to really experience what adulthood is and what your 20s is. And of course, it looks different for everyone, but man, you turn 20 and suddenly everything that you thought you knew about yourself changes, and you're like, huh? Before we start this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I would really love if you subscribed. Please do. I want to see you again in my next video. I have actually been wanting to make this video for a minute, so I'm super excited to just share these things with you. It actually took me a few months. I have been wanting to make this video for months because, like I said, I turned 20 last December. And now it's June. So I've basically been taking the last few months just to write out different things that I genuinely have learned at 20, and I didn't want to rush the process because I'm always learning every single day. So every single day, I just kind of reflected on what am I learning, and I've been writing things, and I feel solid with what I have, but honestly, 20 isn't even enough. You don't only learn 20 things in your 20, you learn 100 things, 200 things. There's a bunch of different lessons to learn every single day. So let's just get straight into the video, and I hope that this is helpful for anyone, whether you're in your 20s or not. I think anyone can probably relate to some of the things that I say in this video, or just take the advice and use it for something positive within themselves. If you see my cat, you probably just saw him over there. He's just around. So say hi to Max. Wait, Max should say hi to you guys. Wait, Max. Max. Yes, come here. Hi, Max. Number 1, age is just a number. You're never too young or too old. When I say that, that doesn't mean that you should be freshly out of high school talking to someone who's old enough to be your father. Let me make that very clear, okay? However, age truly is just a number. And I think that the older I get, the more that I understand why people don't like to share their age. I even sometimes have to correct myself or get myself before I ask people their age. I mean, I still do out of curiosity sometimes, but when you share your age, whether you're young or old, people unintentionally will put you in a box or automatically make assumptions about you, internal assumptions about who they think you are, how they think your mind is, how they think you operate. And it's because we associate age with so many specific things, and I think sometimes we create these expectations based on age or even stereotypes, because ageism is real. But I think the biggest lesson to take from the fact that age is just a number is that you're never too young or too old to do something. And I saw this video that said you will forever keep telling yourself, I wish I started at this age. So just start. If you're 15 years old in a beginner's dance class with all these 8-year-olds, you're going to be like, I wish I started at 8. If you're 20 years old in a dance class with all these 10-year-olds or 14-year-olds, you're going to be like, I wish I started at 14. If you're 30, you're going to be like, I wish I started freshly out of high school. If you don't start now, you're never going to start. You shouldn't let your age make you feel bad, because the older you get, the more you'll just keep saying, I wish I started, I wish I started. So you might as well just start. You might as well just accept where you are, because you can always learn at any age. I understand even why some people don't keep track of their birthday, of their age. For example, Prince, I saw an interview, an older interview, of course, when Prince, the singer, was alive, and he said that he doesn't keep track of how old he is. Because the same way that other people limit us based on our age, sometimes we do that to ourselves. So I just think that that's really interesting to think about sometimes. And oh, another big thing, reason I say that too is because your inner child will always be within you. And that's something that I've learned as I've gotten older. Your inner child will never leave you. You will always feel like a child at some point. There will always be something that makes you nostalgic. And I think that's beautiful. And you should embrace that. And that's why I feel like people who try to act grown are usually young people, because when you're young, you're kind of still within your childhood and you think that you're supposed to leave that. But when you get to be an adult, you start to realize that your childhood never leaves you. I mean, my mom, not to expose my mom still does word crosses, and she even bought a coloring book one day and we're just coloring in it. There's adult coloring books. You can at any point decide to do a puzzle or ride your bike and feel like a kid again, or blow bubbles, or jump up and down, or get excited over the things that excited you as a child, or decide, you know what, I'm in the mood to play tag, you're it, and you're 25 years old. I don't care. Go watch Cheetah Girls for the 30th time. Go eat your ice cream and binge watch My Babysitter's a Vampire. Do whatever you want. Literally, do whatever you want. It's your life. Time is just a concept. That is something that I strongly believe in. Time is not real. Because if we stopped using clocks, we would just exist. In the same way we put expectations to our age, we do it because of time. We have convinced ourselves that we're running out of time, or that we're supposed to do certain things at a specific time. We're supposed to eat at a specific time, wake up at a specific time, XYZ, etc., etc. All these things. Time is a mental thing. It's a concept that we've just operated in. By developing this idea that time is just a concept, it kind of allows you to stop stressing so much and putting so much pressure on yourself. I think it's just, in general, something I think about so much. What would happen if we stopped operating by time? What would happen if we just existed? Letting go of the pressure that being stuck in time does to us can be healthy. I think the other thing to add to this discussion, or this topic right now, is just how when you get older, you realize that the parts of yourself that you thought were gone never left you. Not just with your inner child and that little girl or little boy inside of you that gets super excited and happy about things, or that little girl or little boy of you that was traumatized, because childhood trauma is also very real and something that you should definitely heal from. But anyway, outside of that, I think for me, I thought that I would be able to get rid of certain parts of myself that I don't like, certain parts of myself from my past. I thought that that was a good thing, to just forget past versions of myself that felt like they no longer served me. But the thing is, you're never gonna forget. The only thing you can really do is let go of what doesn't serve you anymore. Bad habits, a mindset that's not serving you. You know what I mean? But you can't just forget about a version of you that existed, because it's you. And that's the thing. You, as an 8-year-old, that's still you. That's not a different person. It's you, but you're grown up now. You've just grew. That's all. And I think I used to there would be moments where I would forget that I'm still the same person that I was years ago, but I don't operate the same. I don't think the same. I don't have the same style. I may not look exactly the same, because obviously my body has grown. My soul has grown. My mind has grown. I've learned new things. So yes, I'm not the same version of myself, but that's still me. And in a way, sometimes it is good to still have access to the past version of you, because I've even found that as I've gotten older, there's been certain aspects about myself that I've wanted to tap back into. So, for example, when I was really little, I used to build stuff. I used to be very inventive. I used to take scraps of garbage and make it into things. I used to take bottles and I turn them into water guns. Just really cool things. I did some really cool stuff as a kid. I made fake robots. I always wanted to make a jewelry box out of recycled garbage. I just loved upcycling in arts and crafts, and that was something I was really good at. And as I got older, I kind of stopped doing that. But as I've gotten older, I've also really wanted to tap back into that. There was one point as I got older where I was really good at cutting people off. I don't feel like I'm as good. Not that I can't, not that I don't understand boundaries, but there was just one point where I was not playing. And the reason I kind of let go of that part of myself is because I realized that you don't always have to cut people off, which is something else I think I'll get into. Sometimes it's more so about having a conversation rather than reacting. After I learned that, I realized, oh, okay, let me let go of this version of myself that's just so hard on people. But again, you can find a balance between the past and the present, because I find sometimes that I need to tap back into that ability that I had, that my past version of myself had, where she was able to not play games, where she was able to set boundaries without thinking twice about it. Just finding a balance between that past habit and the lessons that I've now learned, where I can set a boundary, but I can also be realistic about it. I can also be just considerate about other people's feelings outside of just my own. The future will always become our present. So that said, be present. Sometimes, actually, a lot of times, I feel like most of us are always thinking about our future. I say this from experience. We're always thinking about what's next. How can we improve? How can we grow? How can we do this? Blah, 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 blah. And that's great. It's great to be ambitious. It's great to be goal-oriented. It's great to want to be a better version of yourself. That's amazing. It's great to think about how what you're doing right now will impact the future you. Amazing. However, what you're doing right now will impact the future you. So if you're not taking care of your present self in the now, then the future you that you have all these positive aspirations of becoming, the future you that you really want to pour into, is not going to be there. That future version of yourself that you imagine is not going to look like what you imagine if you're not taking care of yourself now, if you're not pouring into yourself now. Because you today become you tomorrow. You tomorrow becomes you in a month. So if you are speaking down on yourself, if you are overworking yourself, you're not getting sleep, you're not eating enough, you're not taking care of yourself right now, because all you can think about is the future you. Okay, I have to get this homework turned in because the future me does not want an F. So I'm not going to eat. I'm just going to stay up the entire night, even though I'm so tired, to get this work done. But now the future you is also going to be super duper tired. The future you is going to be burnt out. The future you is going to be really hungry. The future you might even start to lose weight because you're so hungry. The future you is not going to feel good because of what you're doing right now, because you're thinking so much about the future you that you're not thinking enough about where you are in the present. Because the future you is the you tomorrow. I think that too, like sometimes we think the future is so far away, but tomorrow is the future. So what you do today will impact you tomorrow. So take care of yourself today, because the version of you tomorrow will really need you to take care of yourself today. And I think that developing that mindset just helps you stay more present. It's really important for you to be in the moment. I think especially if you struggle with overthinking, if you struggle with having anxiety, you might tend to go into the future really fast because you think about, okay, in these next few minutes, if I say the wrong thing, will they still want to hang out with me? Will they still like me tomorrow? What will they be saying about me tomorrow? What if this is the last time that I'll ever speak to them again? What if I embarrass myself and I lose this opportunity? When you have that kind of issue, you tend to rush into the future without even realizing it, without even looking at where you are right now. I think some tactics that I've even heard people talk about to just be more present is look around you, look what's in front of you, say the color of what's in front of you. I have this piano right here that's brown. I have this phone right here that's recording me speaking. That's me being present. Doing things like that might help you. But that's why it's really important to just be there. Appreciate the now. Because also, you never know when you won't have something anymore. You never know. Like, there might be a day where you move the country and the people that you care about won't see you for a while. So when you hang out with them, try to just be in the moment. And trust me, I know how hard it can be. I'm saying this from experience, but I'm also saying this because this is something that I've learned and that I've realized. You have to be here. You have to take care of who you are right now, because the future you needs this current version of you to get to where they are. That's the thing. Every single version of who you are is what makes up the future you. That's why you see in these movies where people go back in the past, or these time travelers, when they go back in the past and they do something different, they change everything and messes everything up, because your life is sequenced. Every decision you make is building the future version of yourself. Everything you do matters, whether it's the past or the present. All the mistakes you've made are still important. It's important to do the right thing, but it's also important to make mistakes. All of these things makes up who you are. So that's also why you need to appreciate this version of you, because trust me when I say the future version of yourself is also going to appreciate all the different versions. Maybe not all, but the future you is going to appreciate some of those past versions of themselves as well. Yes. All of those things were pretty related to each other. Now we're going to kind of switch the theme a little bit. Another thing that I've learned in my 20s is that house skills are really important. I say that because I was a child who didn't really have chores. I actually remember being in middle school and we were in a circle, I think it was gym class, and our teacher asked us, what chores do we have? And everyone was going around saying the different chores that they have and how some of them got paychecks throughout the week. And I was like, sometimes my mom won't let me hang out with my friends until I clean my room. That's really it. Growing up, I really didn't have a lot of home responsibilities as much as other kids did. But honestly, I love you, Mama. But I think that it made things a little tough for me now, because now I'm just kind of learning responsibilities. I'm not just now learning how to cook or how to clean dishes or how to wash clothes. My mom made sure to teach me that when I was young, but it just wasn't it wasn't really a requirement for me to consistently do that. So it wasn't really a responsibility because I never really was made to feel like I had to consistently do that for myself. Now that I've gotten older, it's just been hitting me more what I lack and some of the responsibilities that I now have. And even just thinking about the responsibilities that I'm going to have the older I get. Again, like I said previously, I'm not perfect either. Everything that I'm telling y'all, I'm still learning myself. Like I said, I also need to be more in the present, less in the future sometimes. But, thinking about my future self and the type of person that I want to be independent. And that's the thing, I'm very independent in other ways. Because I would say I'm an independent person. But when it comes to responsibilities, just life responsibilities, home responsibilities, I will say that I think that I could be more independent. I could, because I just didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up having to clean the entire house every week. I know if you have siblings, some people, they have to cook for their siblings, have to babysit their siblings. I didn't have that. I grew up as an only child. I have a sister, but I didn't grow up with her. I did enjoy cooking as a child, but As I got older, I just started to get more lazy, honestly. So I would definitely have a lot of times in which my mom would cook for me or just do certain things for me that I should be doing myself. To anyone else who can kind of relate to that, I'm telling you now, you need to learn how to do things for yourself. You need to start practicing doing things on your own, because you're going to get to a point where you have to do things on your own. Now, that's not to say that you can't appreciate the help that you get, but it is definitely very important. My voice is getting crackly. I need some water. Quick water break. Say hi, Maxie Waxy. Say hi. Say hi. The next thing is privacy is important. Some things you just need to keep to yourselves. And trust me, guys, I'm a yapper. I get it. Sometimes you say things without even realizing, oh my gosh, did I just say that? Or I've actually had a few moments where I say something out loud and I'm like, did I just say that out loud? The older I get, the more that I realize, the less that people know about you, the better. And that doesn't mean that you can't open up. There is an extent to where it gets unhealthy when you keep a lot of things to yourself, especially if you do it out of fear. But there's just some things people don't need to know about you. People don't need to know where you have your basic things. Like, you shouldn't just be giving out your address to anyone. Obviously, you honestly don't need to tell everyone where you work or even what you do for work. That's your business, honestly. It is. That's up to you if you want to tell people. But personal things that don't need to be on the internet, I think that's a really big thing. Even when it comes to relationships, everyone doesn't need to know what's going on in your life. Even your friends, you don't have to tell your friends every single thing about, or every single update about what's going on in your life. And the older I get, the more I just realize that, again, some things just everyone doesn't need to know about. I love my cat. Okay, wait, I need to, sir. Hi, kitty bitty, hi. We feel like we have to put everything on our social media. We think we have to show our entire life. And it's kind of different if you know that you're, to an extent, doing it for content. Like for me, I've definitely stepped into content creation over the years, and I enjoy being able to kind of show people the things that I do, and mainly with my career. But at the same time, I think that it is important to just be aware that how many people can see you. I see people who do these apartment house tours, and I've never been the type of person who wanted to do that. I've never been interested in that. I don't need you guys to, you guys are seeing my house right now. You guys are seeing one room in my house, but that's it. I'm never going to give a tour of my house. It's also a safety thing to an extent of why it's important to be private, because it's so easy for people to find out information about you. Sometimes people feel like if they have to prove themselves to an extent. I think especially if you're a content creator, if you're a creative, it gets to a point sometimes when you want to be so consistent that the second that you're not as consistent, it almost feels like you're failing, or it feels like, oh, people are going to think I'm not working. But I am. I promise you, I'm working. I'm successful. I'm doing this. I'm doing the work. I'm trying my best to be the person that I want to be. And it just gets to a point where you have to sit with yourself and go, why do people need to know whether I'm working or not? Why do I have to show people what I'm doing for them to believe that I'm successful? And everyone isn't going to relate to this, but for those who do, I'm telling you, you don't have to. You don't have to show everyone everything that you're doing. Kind of allow there to be some mysteriousness. Allow there to be some patience. Allow yourself to be patient with yourself. And also, allow others to not know you. Allow others to doubt you. Allow others to think that you're not working. Just let it be, because the work that you do will speak for itself. You don't have to prove yourself ever. So I think that also goes into privacy, where it's like, y'all don't know what I'm doing. Y'all don't know what projects I'm doing. Y'all don't know what I'm getting paid to do, and that's okay. You really don't have to. It's not your business. But when it's ready, when the things that I'm doing are ready to be out there, they will. There's a lot of things that people don't know that I'm doing, that I've been doing for years, actually, or I've had in my mind for years, that people don't know about me, even just recently, or just in this current version, this current chapter of my life. There's things that I'm doing that are in the works that people won't know till it's out there, and that's okay. it also has to do with your opinions. People will take what you say and twist it and make you seem like the worst person on earth. Keeping your opinions to yourself sometimes is necessary, because honestly, everyone does not need to know how you feel. You don't have to speak on every single thing that you see. You don't have to go to social media about everything. You don't have to go to your friends about everything. You honestly can just keep things to yourself, and sometimes that's the best thing to do. I know for myself, that's something I've really tried to work on, just keeping things to myself and watching how I say things, because again, it is really easy to be in a situation where someone simply just mistook something you said, but now it's created an entire situation. And I think the best way to prevent that is to simply shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Sometimes, honestly, especially as a yapper, you really just have to shut up. Everyone doesn't need to know what happened with you and so-and-so. That goes for whether it's a friend or an ex-lover. Everyone doesn't need to know what's going on in your life. When I say that everyone doesn't need to know how you feel, I am not referring to situations where you need to have a conversation with someone to come to a understanding. So that said, communication is really important, because there are so many different situations that can be prevented just from communicating. And I think that my communication skills have gone up and down over the years. They've changed over the years. And I think that communication doesn't always have to look the same with everyone. You do have to remember that everyone is different. And what works for one person may not work for another person. Especially when it comes to someone you care about, you have to learn how to communicate with people. You have to learn how to talk to people. But I think regardless of how you do that, you need to start somewhere. People may get scared to communicate because they're scared of how a person might react. And I completely understand that. But what I've also learned is that not communicating about how something someone did or said to you, it can build unnecessary tension that is just not healthy. Sometimes you not communicating can kind of make you the bad guy, because essentially, let's use the example of maybe a friend hurt you in some way and they don't realize that they've hurt you. And maybe how you feel is very valid, because maybe they really triggered you. Maybe what they said or did to you really hurt your feelings, but you didn't tell them. And so now you guys are continuing this friendship and you're acting like everything's fine when it really isn't. And that's kind of fake. It is. I've been in situations like that, and I had to hold myself accountable and realize that I'm being fake, not intentionally. But if I know that I feel a type of way towards you because of something you did, why would I not say something? Why would I just continue acting like everything's fine when I feel this way? Because again, it builds this unnecessary tension. You have to realize that people are getting to know you. Everyone can't read your mind. And sometimes people may not realize how what they said or did hurt you. It is okay to tell people what you need, because sometimes we expect people to just know things, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to correct people, or you have to give them a chance to get to know you. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that you should just let anything slide, but all I'm saying is that sometimes it's good to just tell people, this is what I need from you to feel good. And I don't have that right now. Like, if you see that someone isn't really doing something for you that you need, sometimes you should just sit down with them and say, hey, so for me to feel secure within this relationship, this is what I need from you. That's really healthy, actually. That's a really healthy thing to do. Now, at the same time, sometimes you have to sit people down and tell them, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes you don't need to give them a second chance or the chance to understand you or show up for you, because if they already made it clear to you that they're not going to do that, then sometimes you really just have to express that you're over it. In conclusion, communication will never do you dirty. I feel like talking about things will never ruin anything that's meant to just be. If you communicating to somebody ruins anything, then it just wasn't meant to be. Trust me, I understand how scary it can be to just talk about certain things. Well, especially when it comes to venting. Oh my gosh, guys, if you struggle with venting, trust me, I understand. But honestly, I think that as I've met different people, I've also just learned with communication, just with how important it is, and even how important using specific words is. The way that you say things will change the tone, the meaning of what you mean. Asking someone to do something versus saying, can you do this, are two different things, and they create two different meanings. So language is also very important. That even goes into communication skills. You shouldn't have to call someone out of their name to communicate to them. Find a balance between validating your own emotions and also understanding other perspectives. You have to remember that when you're in a situation, your perspective being in something versus being outside of it will change. And so that said, sometimes you have to step out of a situation, kind of metaphorically step out of yourself and view things as a whole. The other reason I say that is for two things. One, intention versus action. Two, sometimes two people can both have valid feelings, but feel like the other person is wrong. Sometimes two people can hurt each other. So that's why you have to be able to validate your own feelings while also understanding that the way that you view something is not the only valid way to view a situation. When you look at things from a different angle, things change. And you might actually find that the best thing for you to do is look at something in a different way or from a different angle. That might help you mentally. That might just help you overall gain a better understanding of what you're feeling from looking at it differently and not only looking at it one way. And with what I said about intention versus actions, it doesn't matter whether it's you or somebody else. You might have good intentions, but that doesn't make your actions right. So you can validate your own feelings or emotions in the sense that, okay, I know what kind of person I am. I know how I feel. I know that I had the intention to do this. But you also have to be open-minded enough and mature enough to be held accountable when you hurt someone. If someone is telling you that something you did or said hurt them, it doesn't matter what your intention was. It hurt them. It doesn't matter whether, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, I was just joking. It doesn't matter. It still hurt them. That's their feelings that they're expressing to you because they just want you to understand how they feel. You can't just look at something from your own perspective. And understand that. Perspective is such a wide range, and that goes into my next thing. Everyone is going to have a different perspective of you, okay? Everyone is going to have a different perspective of life, of the world, of how you're supposed to live. And that's why you honestly can't focus on other people's opinions. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned stepping into my adulthood and just as I've gotten older, period, is that you cannot control how everyone perceives you or everyone's perspective of you. You cannot control that. You will be the bad guy in somebody's story. Maybe you'll be the bad guy in the story of the person who thought you were going to hold the door for them and you didn't see them and you just kept walking. Like, I don't know, maybe you might be the bad guy if you took the last box of cereal in the grocery store that someone else wanted. Or maybe you're the bad guy because you said something to someone that didn't make them feel good. And now they think that you're just someone who doesn't care. They think that you're just mean. I don't know. I'm throwing these things out, not necessarily from personal experience. I'm throwing these things out just as examples that everyone will perceive you differently. The thing is, too, that people will project their insecurities onto you. People will try to make you feel bad about yourself. Everyone doesn't want to see you win. I feel like this is something that I've really been just having to come to terms with, the fact that everyone will not have the best perspective of me, and that's okay. I cannot do anything about that. What I can do is control, and that's the thing, like, you can only control what is in your control. Everything's not in your control. Everyone's opinion is not within your control. But you know that you can be the best version of yourself. You know that you can be kind to people. You know what you need to do. And if you're able to be a good person, you should be a good person. But I'm just saying that just because someone else doesn't see you as a good person doesn't make you a bad person. Just because someone else doesn't see you as attractive doesn't make you unattractive. Just because someone might have had a conversation with you when your energy wasn't all the way there doesn't mean that you're this rude person or this super low energy person. You know who you are, and that's the most important thing. Find out who you are, because when you don't know who you are, it's easier for people to tell you who you are, and you don't want that, because again, everyone's not going to see you the same way, and who you are to one person doesn't make up who you really are. Only you get to define that. So do that. Figure out who you are and who you want to be. Who do you want to be? How do you want people to perceive you? Of course, you can't expect every single people to see you in that way, but in a general aspect, who do you want to be? That's something to think about. I think so many of us try really hard to have a good first impression with people and to not say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, be on people's sides. But I think also when you realize that you can't control how everyone sees you, it kind of, in a way, helps you gain the confidence to just be you without feeling like you have to be someone that you're not, or feeling these expectations of what you're supposed to say, how you're supposed to act. Let people misunderstand you. Let people make assumptions about you. Some people won't like you because you are you. Some people will not like you just because of who you are. And who you are might trigger some people. That is okay. And also, when you are a very positive person, when you have a strong, beautiful energy, there will be people who want to dim your light. There will be people who want to make you look bad. I have seen this so many times. Whenever someone sees you as innocent, they don't want other people to see you that way. They're like, oh, this can't be true. I have to find dirt on them. I have to make them look bad. Some people want to make you look bad. Some people want to embarrass you. Some people don't want to see you win. Some people don't want to see you succeed. Some people are jealous, and because of that, they will go out of their way to make you feel bad about yourself. And I'm not trying to repeat myself, but some people are so jealous that they will try to just make other people not want to be around you, not want to work with you. I hope that anyone watching this doesn't have to experience that. I hope you find your community. I hope you find people who make you feel good for being you and treat you right and aren't secretly jealous of you or anything. But just keeping it real, especially like for me, a lot of the industries that I want to work in are very competitive, and I think that that's something that I've really been realizing, how competitive it is. It's not always something that's going to be right in your face. Sometimes it's going to be very subtle. Sometimes it's going to be people throwing shots at you. You have to really give yourself grace. Let people think that there's something wrong with you. I think that some people in the world struggle so deeply with themselves that it's easier to make other people their enemy. Because for some people, it gives them more of a reason to go hard. And it gives them more of a reason to uplift themselves. Like, dang, people do me so dirty. I don't deserve this. I'm such a great person. You know what I mean? For some people, they have to make you the enemy because that's what motivates them. And it's weird, but that's just what it is. I've decided to split this video up into 2 parts. I post every Saturday. I promise you that. Every Saturday, make sure to tune in next Saturday for the part 2 of this video, where I will say my last 10 things that I have learned in my 20s. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe